We continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are on chapter 3, text 11. Devan bhava yatane na te deva bhava yantuva parasparam bhava yantaha shreya param avapsyatha. The demigods, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. The demigods being pleased by sacrifices. So yesterday we heard Krishna said, you perform sacrifice for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. And in this way, live here peacefully. And at the end of this human life, you come back home, back to Godhead. Now he's saying, what happens when you perform sacrifice to Lord Vishnu for the pleasure of Vishnu? The demigods are also happy. We are thinking, let me pray separately to Indra, to Chandra, to Lord Shiva, to Durga Devi, to Ganesh, these are the few popular ones, I think. And Surya Dev, there are many popular demigods. People think, let me pray to them, so then I will be happy. I will get whatever I need for this material life. But the demigods are in fact satisfied only when we first offer sacrifice to Krishna, because they're all devotees of Krishna. When we offering in sacrifice to Krishna, to Lord Vishnu or Krishna, he first takes the offering, then he distributes it to the demigods. Then the demigods are pleased, and they provide us with all the necessities of life. The demigods are empowered administrators of material affairs, the supply of air, light, water, and all other benedictions for maintaining the body and soul of every living entity is entrusted to the demigods, who are innumerable assistants in different parts of the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the demigods are also living entities like us. They are also living entities in this material world, but they are devotees of Krishna. They are devotees. And because they are devotees, Krishna knows that if he puts them in a position of power, they will not misuse that power. Because imagine supplying air, light, water. It's a great responsibility. The sun every morning, he shows up, and he sets every evening. Not that, oh, today I'm tired, I'm not going to do it. No, it's his responsibility. The duty has been given to him by Krishna. So he does it dutifully. Imagine if that duty was given to us. You'd say, oh, I slept late last night, so I can't get up today. What would happen to everyone else? So these are empowered living entities. They're devotees of God, of Krishna, but they still have some desire for control, for desire for power, desire for managing, desire for some administration. So then Krishna brings them to the post of demigods, so they can manage this universal affairs. We read about it so much in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. Very detailed it's given, that how even for different parts of our body and different functions of the body, there are different demigods in charge. Like the Surya Dev is in charge of our eyes, Agni is in charge of our mouth, Varuna is in charge of the taste, the palate, Lord Indra is in charge of our hands, and then Brahmaji in charge of intelligence, and even the blinking of the eyes. We want to blink the eyes, then, okay, we think it's automatic. We get a desire, okay, I need to blink. So Paramatma will say, okay, can blink. He will send the information to the demigod. Okay, now you press the button, and the demigod will allow it. And that's how it happens. We think we are lifting our hands. It's not that. It's not that. Even our different body parts are under the control of the demigods. So their pleasure and displeasures are dependent on the performance of yagyas by the human being. Some of the yagyas are meant to satisfy particular demigods, but even in doing so, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in all yagyas as the chief beneficiary. So how can we satisfy all the demigods? Become a devotee of Krishna, satisfy Krishna. And the yagya for this age is Harinam Sankirtan Yagya, chanting the holy name, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And in this way, all the demigods will be satisfied. There will be sufficient rain, there will be sufficient food grains. There will not be this so many disturbances in the world that we are seeing now. It is stated also in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna himself is the beneficiary of all kinds of yagyas, bhoktaram yagya tapasam. So in chapter 5, the last verse 29, Krishna says, bhoktaram yagya tapasam, all the sacrifices, all austerities, all penances, Krishna are meant for the satisfaction of Krishna alone. We might say, oh, how can it be? I did this sacrifice to please Lord Shiva. How is you saying that it's for Krishna? No, even though we do sacrifice for Lord Shiva, then Lord Shiva is pleased. Then he takes the permission from Krishna that this person is asking me this. Shall I give it to him? Krishna has given certain, powers to certain demigods. And within their power, they can give. But the authority is given to them by Krishna. The authority is given by Krishna. Therefore, ultimate satisfaction of the Yagyapati is the chief purpose of all Yagyas. And none of the demigods can give us moksha, mukti, liberation. Only Krishna can. No one. Even when Hiranyakashipu went to Lord Brahma is the first created being of this universe. Hiranyakashipu told Brahma, I want to become immortal. Brahmaji said, I myself am not immortal. How will I give you immortality? You have to give up this body. I cannot give you liberation. That only Krishna can give liberation from this material world. So when these yagyas are perfectly performed, naturally the demigods in charge of the different departments of supply are pleased, and there is no scarcity in the supply of natural products. So now why there is so much disturbances, somewhere there's no water, somewhere there is too much water, somewhere there is not much sun, somewhere there's too much, because the demigods are also not being, they are not being pleased, they are not being satisfied. Because how many people are doing sacrifices in this age? The sacrifice for this age of Kali is chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. How many people are doing? It's said in all the Vedic scriptures, Kali Yuga Dharma Hari Nam Sankirtan is mentioned in so many different scriptures. Kali Yuga Dharma Hari Nam Sankirtan. That is the dharma for this age, but how many people are doing it? And then we complain that, oh, the world affairs are not in proper order. Performance of yagyas has many side benefits, ultimately leading to liberation from material bondage. By performance of yagyas, all activities become purified. As it is stated in the Vedas, Ahar Shuddha, Sattva Shuddhihi, Sattva Shuddha, Dhruva Smritihi, Smriti Lambe, Sarva Granthina, Vipra Mokshaha. By performance of yagya, one's eatables become sanctified. And by eating sanctified foodstuffs, one's very existence becomes purified. By the purification of existence, finer tissues in the memory become sanctified. And when memory is sanctified, one can think of the path of liberation. And all these combined together lead to Krishna consciousness, the great necessity of present-day society. So by performance of yagya, one's eatables become sanctified. Means when we are cooking food and offering to Krishna, then that food is become pure. It's spiritual food. It's prasad. By eating such pure food, we become pure. Our existence becomes pure. Our finer brain tissues becomes pure. Our intelligence becomes pure. Our memory becomes pure. And when this is intelligence and memory is pure, we can understand how to get out of this material world. Think of the path of liberation. And Prabhupada is saying, Krishna consciousness is the great necessity of present-day society. You can see that, which begins by hearing and chanting. Just hearing and chanting, and the whole world can change. And it begins with us. We need to do it ourselves and then encourage others to do it. hearing, chanting, worship the deity, offer the food to Krishna before we eat. All this is purification. Any questions or comments? No, then we'll stop here for today. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Prem Nande Hari.